What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about traps that women are going to give you on dating apps quite often and how to not fall for them and what to do instead. Now, we're going to go through a couple examples here, a real life example from one of my clients and how I coached him through this process. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Carl. I've helped over 100 successful men find high quality dates and love with their completely new dating systems. Now, today we're going to talk specifically about dating apps here, right? So as we go through here, you're going to see a couple comments here from my client here. What he's asking me, his kind of thoughts, and what I would encourage you to do is, as we go through here, really to make you think. I don't want you just to be passively watching this, but I'm going to scroll down through the conversation and I'm going to pause it here just after her text or after my client's suggestion, and I want you to pause the video and think what you would send in this situation. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what I would send and what we ended up sending. I'll show you that it worked, and then I'm going to talk about my framework and my mindsets behind why I sent what I sent. And then you can compare the two, right? You can compare what you wanted to send, compare it to what I wanted to send, and see the difference, see if you need to improve, see if your text was good, see if your text was even better than mine, perhaps. Or let's say different than mine, better or different than mine, but kind of attacking another angle, right? So here, let's start at the very top. So this is a Hinge conversation. Now, I blurred out my the opening line here because this is something I only give out to my paying clients. But anyways, she's like, honestly, good summary. We tell her a little bit about herself, right? And then what my client does then is he uses this kind of classic line that we use when we want to continue the conversation and you don't really know what to say, right? And you want her to answer. Now, this is actually kind of a mistake here, right? The reason for that is we've kind of already done that here. So we've done what's essentially called a cold read. We have assumed things about the girl, and we're getting her to open up, right? And that's a really good first message. But the problem here is it becomes more of the same, right? So what should know about you, hobbies, pets, gang affiliations? It's all about her. So it's like all about her, and this is all about her as well, right? So I try to avoid that. Usually if you do use the opener that I kind of suggest, then you want to kind of make things more playful immediately afterwards, if possible. But, and you can see she kind of reacts to this. She's like, too much info texting, right? Even the way she says this line, she doesn't even use like correct grammar, just too much info texting, right? Like she's missing words here. She's kind of like medium interest, let's say, or she is interested, but just like kind of somebody who doesn't put too much effort into texting, right? Now, she might have just said that anyways, but it's also a function of the message that we had just previously sent, right? So when my client says, how do I respond to this? I was thinking something like, maybe I should have just listed lazy as one of your attributes, sticky out face, but I don't know if it's too punishing, right? So that's something I talk about with my clients, the concept of punishing and rewarding. And yes, in this case, it is a little bit too punishing, right? For the most part, okay? You don't want to be very punishing over text. Like, you just want to be giving out positive vibes like 99% of the time, okay? Sometimes guys hear this concept of, oh, you have to put girls in their place, blah, 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 and they go way overboard, okay? You only want to do that a little bit of the time at certain times, definitely not within the first couple messages, right? Being with you should be fun and playful, right? So that's where we want to go with this. This is also, well, let's start with this. So so you can pause the video here. You can think about what you would send in response to this. Okay, well, let's move on. Scrolling slowly down here. So this was my suggestion. I thought texting is like breathing for girls. Or are you one of those girls who actually has the courage to meet people IRL? Smiley face. Now, this is really good. This uses some word association, so it plays off the thing that she's just said, right? I thought texting is like breathing for girls. So this is kind of this is teasing her, right? This is teasing her for being a girl and that she should love texting, right? Teasing her, it's about her as well, but we've brought it from sort of a logical place to more of a fun place, which is where the conversation should be, especially at the start, right? Here, or are you one of these girls who actually has the courage to meet people IRL? Now, I'm sure you know about frames, okay? Now, when we talk about frames, you have to be a little bit careful here. This frame plays with the boundaries of what's acceptable and not acceptable, and what's attractive as a guy and not attractive as a guy. What I mean by that is, if you don't want to say something like, oh, are you going to meet me? Or you don't want to insinuate that girls don't meet you, right? Because that is obviously a frame that's not attractive. However, this frame is slightly different to that, right? This is actually a frame that's challenging her a little bit. And it's saying like, oh, are you one of these girls that isn't courageous, right? And this is sort of like, sometimes this is actually quite a common thing that men who understand what they're doing do, is, you know, they could frame her as being shy, or they could frame her as being like, oh, you're not shy, are you? And here, that's kind of the same thing. Do you actually have courage? Which is kind of like the same thing as the opposite of being shy. So this is a bit of a challenge. So what we've done here is we have teased her, and then we've challenged her a little bit. Cool. And then, so let's scroll down. Let's see what she says. She says, always in person, hon. Texting lacks emotion and hurts my thumbs. Okay, lol. So what would you say here, right? And if you're a beginner at this, or you're not as experienced, you probably see something like this and you just hit a wall. Like, you don't know what to respond at all. And that's why, you know, a lot of my clients come to me, and I always tell them to make a suggestion, right? Make a suggestion, your best suggestion, even if it's not the final thing that you send, even if it's way different to what I end up sending, because I want you to practice, and I want you to, you know, if I just spoon feed you lines, you're never going to learn. You're going to learn how to copy paste. It's the same problem with using AI. AI, number one, is not going to give you good responses because it's trained to be politically correct. And number two, you're just going to be copy pasting things. You're not going to understand why things work and don't work. So he's going to say, and this is the trap. This is the trap that 90% of men are going to fall into. Even 95% of men are going to fall into, right? Always in person, hon. Texting lacks emotions and hurts my thumbs. Thinking of replying, well, shoot me your number then. We can grab a drink. And this is the thing that I see every guy get wrong. And it's that as soon as a girl shows a little bit, she gives them like an opening to ask her out. Now, it's very, very good when you see an opening to actually ask her out, but certain things have to have happened in the conversation, and it can't happen so quickly in the conversation. Sometimes girls, literally in the first message, they're going to be like, wow, you know, you seem like you'd be, well, what would they say? They'd say something like, oh, you should ask me out, or some shit like this. And pretty much 95% of the time, 99% of the time, that is a trap. If you ask her out right away, she's going to lose attraction for you, right? So what you do in such situations is you say something like, hey, cute words like that watch out, cute words like that are going to land you a hot date. Now, I'm sure I have some examples of that somewhere. I've used that. My clients have used that. Now, the reason you want to do that is you don't want to be too easy, right? If you're just giving yourself away, it's like, oh, she's like, oh, we should, like, she gives you an opening and you're just like immediately thirsty, like, oh, I need it. Okay, she's giving me a chance. Let's go for it. Then she's going to feel that thirst, even if she meant it. She's like, oh, I do want to go out with this guy. If you jump on it too quickly, it's not going to be attractive. So if you think about the mentality of a guy who is attractive, right? He's got so many options that, like, he needs to evaluate her first and make sure that she is right for him. And how can he do that? He can't do that and jump on things at the same time. So you have to play it slightly slower, a little bit harder to get, right? So that's the mindset behind this. So this is what you don't want to do, right? You're not really, it's just a little bit too thirsty, okay? So if we don't want to do that, what are we going to do instead, okay? What we're going to do here is, let's see what happens after this. So I'm pretty sure this is my suggestion. This is my suggestion. That's perfect because Darren is an experience best enjoyed in person. And here we're not asking any questions. We are just saying something. We're saying something that has a lot of self-confidence, that has a lot of value. We're saying this is an amazing frame. We're saying if you go out with me and you enjoy me in person, you're going to have a great experience. That's the frame that we're setting there, right? So here we ask the question, are you one of the girls who actually have the courage to meet people in real life? I actually did not put a question mark here on purpose because inherently asking questions can come across as a little needy. You're like, there's an explicit ask there, but you can kind of remove that a little bit psychologically by just not having the question mark at all. Here we also had a question mark, many question marks actually. So what we're doing here is we've asked so many questions in a row that it's time to not ask a question, right? And you can get away with not asking a question. If she's genuinely interested in you in the conversation, it's going to be absolutely fine. It's going to be good, in fact. You need that. But it only works if, you've been teasing with her and flirting with her and challenging her, and you say something that's interesting enough for her to want to respond. So I tell this to guys at the start. I'm like, hey, you need to say something that's interesting that she can easily respond to. Now this is so this is something that she can easily respond to, and there's enough value and frame in here that she will want to respond to it. Now look how she responds. She's like, that's for me to judge. But she sends the heart. Heart is very important. What does this show? She loves the confidence, okay? She likes that. But she's saying that's for me to judge. So this is what women do, right? They're going to play hard to get. They're going to test you a little bit. So she likes the confidence, but she wants to test how confident you really are. Are you just putting up a front, or are you really this confident guy, right? So here's my client. He says, do I go for the close now? This girl is super hot. I think that's why she's challenging me so much. So I think I've been through a number of conversations with this client, but this is the first time this client had this girl really giving him a tough time, right? So she's saying that's for me to judge. So pause the video. How would you want to respond to this? So what you want to notice here, and this is something that you have to understand. There's two ways you can frame this, right? So this is either the game of seduction, right? The other thing that this is, you could see this as a power play, a power dynamic, right? And fundamentally, when women and men, they're interacting with each other, women are always trying. They want to be on the pedestal. Well, this is the thing. They don't want to be on the pedestal. They don't want to be the prize, but they inherently do this, right? Because of the way they've been raised by society. It's almost biologically wired for them to be the prize, right? And they're looking for, and like 99% of guys are going to be below them, trying to go up, trying to get them, right? So they do something like this. That's for me to judge. She's putting herself as the judger of you, right? And what she ultimately does want is she wants a guy who's she actually looks up to. She wants a guy that's above her, right? So you kind of have to have the opposite frame of this. Like, you should be judging her, right? That is the and if you can have that frame and she really believes it and she buys into that, and if she buys into that, that's what's necessary for women to be attracted to you, and that's what good game is. Now the art and the finesse is doing that in a way which is smooth, right? Because if you just flip this, if you're just like, hey, I'm going to judge you back, right? Like, there's no finesse there, and what you're going to do is you're going to trigger women's ego. So you have to be able to set that frame, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but you need to be able to set that frame such that over time she's like, okay, actually this guy is, at my level or above my level, right? I don't set the rules. This is just how it works, okay? So that's the kind of power dynamic that's at play. Now, what I like to do here, and when guys learn about frame battles, especially with texting, what they tend to do is they tend to go overboard. Okay, they tend to, like, every single time they see something like this, they're like, oh, I need to put myself above her. But like I said before, you're going to trigger her ego. And what I found that works for, I've also seen stuff where, like, guys are, like, setting crazy frames, like, oh, like, I'm above you, and they do it in smooth ways. But what I found is this also seems to work really well for guys with, who are super attractive. Now, what if you're a guy who's like average attractiveness, or below average attractiveness, or kind of at the same attractiveness as the girl? What I've found works the best is something I like to call a balance frame. And what I mean by that is you kind of put yourself at the same level as the girl. So if she gives you this much shit, you give her this much shit. If she gives you this much shit, you also give her the same amount of shit, okay? And that way she can never really be angry, because you're just matching her energy. You're never trying to set yourself above her, right? Now, there's also another level deeper here, which is the fact that she's out there dating you, and that she wants to go on a date with you. She does understand that you are above her, and just the fact that you can be smooth, puts you above all the other guys, right? So there is that. It's kind of like you're above her, but you kind of like, starting off a little bit balanced. It's like, this is what it is. Let me rewind a little bit. In reality, she's at this level, and you are at her level or above. Let's say it's above. Now, there's another paradigm here where, value is everybody's of equal value, or there's no such thing as value judgments. But within the very real and practical realms of human dating, that's how it works, okay? So your value is up here, her value is here. But she does not understand that, right? She doesn't know who you are. So your value, initially, she sees you kind of as down here. Or if she matches with you on the app, she kind of hopes that you're here, right? Or maybe she even sees you as above her, but she has to play this game where she's trying to put herself above you. And over time, you basically just want to climb up a little bit, be like, actually, I'm at your level. I'm actually at your level. Don't mess with me. Or even once you kind of reach this level, then you could be like, I'm actually above your level, right? So that's what I found works the best for, average looking guys. You kind of want to baby step your way up. If you jump from here to here, she might just, her ego might get triggered. She might auto reject you. But if you just kind of go like, boom, I'm at your level, and then slowly work your way up, that's how you want to do it. That's the sweet spot. So let's see the next message. Let's see the balance frame here. The balance frame is here. Was there a message missing? I think there was a message missing here, or maybe we just hearted her message, something like this. And then we said something, if you're equally cool, maybe I'll even introduce you to my mom. So see here, guys, this is the balance frame. We're saying if you're equally cool as me, that's the balance frame. We're not saying I'll be the judge of you. We're just being like, okay, well, you're judging me. You're judging how cool I am. I'm going to judge you back. And if you're equally cool as me, and that's the balance frame, okay? Now, one other thing I love to do with frames, and whenever I'm sort of asserting a balance frame or even a prize frame, is I like to add some humor into it. So we're saying, if you're equally cool, maybe I'll even introduce you to my mom. So that's just kind of playful. It's not to be taken too seriously. Let's see how she responds. Hold your horses, okay? So she's still playing, all right? She's playing hard to get a little bit as well. She's like, hold your horses. Still playing hard to get. And then what happens here? Okay, we'll go on 17 dates first. By then I should know whether I like you or not. So this is the client's suggestion. Now you can see here, this is the prize frame. This is not a balance frame. By then I should know whether I like you or not. So this is not what I would recommend sending, because this is exactly what I talk about, where you've kind of gone too far and you're being like, I should know whether I like you after 17 dates, because I'm so above you. Then this is too far, and it could trigger her ego. I think he does end up sending this anyways, because I didn't have time to respond to him in time. Yep. So my version of this would have been, you're right, we should go on 17 dates first and then maybe hold hands. So basically what this is, it's this idea which is called agreeing and amplifying with her. So we're agreeing with her, and then we're taking it to ridiculous levels, right? So we're just joking. So it's the same thing as here, right? Whenever we assert something, we just joke about it afterwards. So here's the joke. We should go on 17 dates first and then maybe hold hands, right? And this kind of takes things, it's kind of a sexual joke if you think about it, because it's deliberately not sexual. So if you're saying that, hey, we're just going to hold hands after 17 dates, there's this sort of implied subcommunication that maybe something happens much quicker. Maybe on the first date we're kissing. Maybe on the first date we're getting intimate, right? So that's a very good joke to tell. So I like this one better than, but then I should know whether I like you or not. So let's see how she responds to what the client sent. She says, sure, but if you're a yay, but I'll know for sure if you're a yay or nay before that. So this is what I mean, guys. Like, I don't like getting into frame battles. It's just going to be this back and forth over and over again. Who's like both people trying to win that frame. So I prefer just balance framing. So let's see what happens here. So this is my next suggestion. Okay, we'll do, and notice, guys, like this client, he wanted to ask for her number or ask for her Instagram super duper early, right? Already up here, he's like, man, should we try and get her number? But no, we got to keep bantering. We got to keep teasing her. We got to keep flirting. We got to keep asserting our frame, our balance frame, keep teasing her while we're doing that. And then over time, she's like, okay, this guy is cool. And what this shows is, if you can be cool over text, what girls are is they're worried that the date is going to be fucking boring, right? Because they've been on so many dates that have been fucking boring. This shows her that you're going to be one of the guys who knows how to use his words, who's fun, who's not afraid to tease her, right? So the texting is the first part of the date starts here, right? So we're saying, okay, we'll do a joint performance review after drinks. Again, no question mark. Again, very, very non-needy. Now, what we did do here, you'll notice, is we've insinuated the date, right? So we've started a role play here that we're going to do a joint performance review. I like this role play. I use it quite a lot. Hey, let's like compare LinkedIn's. Let's do a joint performance review, whatever. And then here, where did we go? we'll do a joint performance review after drinks. What we've done is now we've teased her enough, we've spoken to her long enough that we can kind of start moving things towards a date. But even when we start moving things towards a date, I'm not just like, okay, let's meet tomorrow, 6 p.m., let's grab pizza and drinks, right? It's not like that. It's like, hey, we're just going to kind of insinuate that we should get drinks, and then after that, we can kind of weave that in with the joint performance review, right? So we'll do a joint performance review after drinks. Now, we call this soft closing. Like if you're in sales, closing the deal is closing the deal, which would be, getting her number, getting her out. This is soft closing. We're soft closing the deal. We're like, hey, are you ready? Do you feel like, testing the waters and seeing how she responds to it? Does she bite on this, or is she repelled by this? Is she drawn in? And then is this going to be a monthly thing then? So again, guys, don't be needy. Just be chill. Just banter. Is this going to be a monthly review then? And then here, okay, so pause the video, think about what you would send in this case. Cool. Now let's move on. And then we say yes if we get past probation period. So here we're rewarding her. She's like, you'll notice actually here she stopped asserting her prize frame. Here was her prize frame. She's like prize framed herself many times in a row. She's like, starts way up here. That's for me to judge. That's number 1. Hold your horses. That's number 2. I'll know for sure if you're a yay or nay before that. That's number 3. She's prize framing herself. She's like, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. And then here's the first time that she does not. Again, notice this. Well, this is a balance frame, right? We're saying, hey, we'll do a joint performance review. I'm not like, hey, I'm the boss. I'm going to review your behavior. No, it's like, hey, we're going to do a joint performance review. So it's a bit of a balance frame. And then what we do here, the very next text that we send is yes if we get past probation period. So we could have also said if you get past probation period, which would have been this prize framing a little bit more. But I just balance framed it here, just to make it a little bit easier for her to go along with it. And then we say yes if we get past probation period. So she stopped setting her own prize frame so much. She's even said, is this going to be a monthly thing then? If you really think about what that means, this is really positive. She's insinuating that we're going to meet over and over and over again, right? Which means she wants to see you over and over again. So this would be a bad time to, what you want to do here is reward her. So we would reward her just with a simple yes, Yep. Basically affirming, being like, yeah, we'll hang out, we'll have fun, perfect, whatever. However you want to phrase that is fine. But yes, if we get past probation period. And then here's where the magic, it all comes together at the end. We've been super non-needy. We haven't even asked for the date. And then here at the end, she gives her number or her Instagram. Actually, she's prize framing herself here that I see. But she's chasing here. On another level, she's chasing because she's actually sending her contact details without us even asking for it, right? So basically what this means is good job done to us. Now, this is a power play, power dynamic, but you can also just see it's flirting, right? Part of the game, part of what women like is, engaging in that there. So we've covered two things today, guys. One of the things was the traps of not trying to close her too early. The number 2, another huge part of this has been talking about power dynamics, frames, and how to avoid falling into a bad frame where she's the prize. Also talking about how you could prize frame yourself, or my personal favorite, just balance framing things as well. Non-needy, and then eventually, you can either off close for the date, or she's going to end up closing herself because you did such a good job. So I hope that helped, guys. If you need any help with your own texting, feel free to join our school community where I give free feedback on your texts. As well, there's going to be coaching sessions that you can just join for free, and I'll be able to guide you live. Now, if you want more videos like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button, and these will be popping up in your feed. Lots of love. Thanks for staying with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.